on. Walk and skank and me say walk and skank. Yes sir. Walk and skank and me say walk and skank. One. Walk and skank and me say walk and skank. You go out of the street to be walk and skank. You go.
Hello and welcome to your Friday's episode of Loose Mandem. It is a pleasure to have your support and hope you lot are watching are ready for this bumper of a show. So coming up, we will be discussing all things black hairstyles at private girls' school, a social media influencer becoming transracial, and another new dilemma to solve. Moreover, we will be playing another game of Loose Mandem Does Guess the Picture. So make sure you all are watching and comfortable and got what you need for the next 30 to 40 minutes because that is today's Loose Mandem. But first, in 2020, a private girls' school had become Britain's first to allow black hairstyles such as afros, cornrows and twists as part of its uniform policy. Sutton High School in South London will adapt the Halo Code, which has been developed by activists to stop black students being punished for their hair. The school has also stated that its teachers will also be speaking to suppliers about hats, swimming caps and wider hairbands for pupils who want to push back their hair for science lessons. The school wants the code to help black pupils and staff workers with natural hair and styles linked with their ethnic and cultural identities. The Halo Code, which has also been signed by Unilever, requires the school to accept that it champions the right of staff and students to embrace all Afro hairstyles. So considering this, do you think that schools are unfairly punishing students for their hairstyles? Concluding braids amid a growth in strict behaviour and uniform policies. What do you think about this? Come on.
You know what? I think the school has done a correct job for them to accept black Afro hair because we've heard many cases like those where some schools where they've banned haircuts and when parents have overruled the decision to say that that's unacceptable because I've got here. So earlier this year, Ruby Williams, 18, received an $8,500 out-of-court settlement after her family took legal action against the Urswick School in Hackney, East London, because she had Afro hair and the school didn't accept Afro hair. So I think it was the right decision for them to go to court with that because some people are not don't understand about why is it so important and why is it different. It's because black hair is, it's very puffy. We grow out rather than down as like white people. It's not a lot thicker. We've heard and seen that black hair deemed as unprofessional, unfairly, puffy or natty. But it's our hair. It's like telling you to just cut off all your hair. You've lost your identity. Why would you want to cut off your hair when you can't do nothing much about the hair? So I think, the school is doing a great job and I hope that Halo Code should be implemented in all schools and colleges and universities and the workplace as well. Some don't get, black people don't get discriminated against.
I agree. What are your thoughts on this, Lewis?
Yeah, so it's the fact that some schools still have in place like rules against hairstyles, specifically natural cultural hairstyles like afros, it's just another perfect example of institutional racism. And you go to school to learn, not to be told what to wear or that something's wrong with you and that you need to change. So yeah, like you said, it's just taking away their identities and schools have got no right.
I see that. Kyle, I see you had a little disagreement there in your face.
I didn't disagree.
You didn't disagree?
I think it's just, it's getting obvious at this point that there's a lot of problems in society and I'm glad schools are challenging some of those problems. It's pretty simple that they're natural hairstyles and I'm glad some schools are, allowing it and I hope more schools follow suit.
Because hopefully, because it is again, like, I know in my experience, I know our school, in Kamaar school, we didn't really have that much. I mean, well, I was allowed an afro, you know what I mean? He was allowed his braids and stuff like that, but we didn't necessarily get that much, although there were, in terms of fades and stuff like that, were a bit iffy, you know? So I can understand that. I mean, here I've got the Halo Code, just a short summary of the Halo Code, which is, our school champions the right of staff and students to embrace all Afro hairstyles. We acknowledge that Afro's textured hair is an important part of our black staff and students' racial, ethnic, cultural and religious identities and requires specific styling for hair health and maintenance. Afro, locks, twists, braids, cornrows, fades, hair straightened through heat, weaves, wigs, headscarves and wraps. All of these are included. So I know more schools need to actually follow up on this. Kamaar, what do you say to schools that don't do this, like allow this kind of stuff to be permitted in their schools as part of the uniform?
That don't exactly introduce that.
They don't allow that.
I just say shame on you, and you should get more black workers or black governors in your institution or in your school, because, like I said, it's like telling someone who's not black to cut your hair or change your style or cut it off. You just feel like, why am I being discriminated because how my hair? You know, some black people have not. You know, some black people may not want to have, you know, black thick hair. That's why many black people have weaves, wigs, extensions. You know, just because of that situation. But if you want to go back in history, you know, example, box braids, jerry curls, they've been back. You know, they've been, what's the word now? Used before this century. They've been, you know, going from, yeah, so, but people like to make it, oh, it's a new thing, oh, it's a new, you're getting with the times, but no, people need to look at the history before they say, oh yeah, that's a new thing from TikTok or Instagram or something. No, it's not. I'm just going to read you something. So, ancient origins, so from box braids to dreadlocks and afro shape-ups, many of the most iconic black hairstyles can be found in drawings, engravings, and hieroglyphs from ancient Egypt. So that's from Egypt, and then you've got twisted locks. Dreadlocks have been perceived as a hairstyle associated with the 20th century Jamaican and Rastafarian culture. But according to Dr. Bear Ashbrook, Twisted My Dreadlocks Chronicles, one of the earliest known recordings of the hairstyles being found in the Hindu Vedic scriptures. So that's going back, but we're just making them reintroduced into new society now, because look at Adele, she got criticised because she had Bantu knots. When she was in that carnival outfit, people criticised that, oh, but she's not black, she hasn't got the right, to do that. But Adele was born in London Borough with a lot of black people in it, so I think she's got more than right to do that. But it says about Bantu knots, another hairstyle still popular today, with rich African roots are Bantu knots. Bantu universally translates to people among many African languages, and it used to categorize over 400 ethnic groups in Africa. These knots are also referred to as Zulu knots because the Zulu people of South Africa, a Bantu ethnic group, originated the hairstyle. The look goes by the name Nubian knots. So people need to look at the history first before they criticize, oh, you're just only having it now because what, you've seen it, this celebrity done it, this TikToker, this influencer's done it. But yeah.
To be fair though, there is, by law, there is a right to not allow these things, because it says even there is no legislation that deals specifically with school uniform or other aspects of appearance such as hair, colour and style, and the wearing of jewellery and makeup, and this is for the governing body of a school to decide whether there should be a school uniform and other rules relating to appearance, and if so, what they should be. This flows from the duties placed upon the governing body by statute and conduct the school policies promote good behaviour and discipline amongst the pupils' body. So Kyle, it's as if, yes, we want more schools to allow this into this into like uniform policy, but technically schools have the right to shut it down though.
Always had the right, and it's not isolated to just black students. Everybody knows you're not allowed to dye your hair, and obviously that's a completely different conversation. You choose to dye your hair and stuff like that, but they're strict on everybody. But the issue is when your rule affects a certain group of people differently, then that rule doesn't work. That's the issue. It's not the fact that they have the right to do it. I think they do have the right to, decide what students can wear and can't wear or look like, but it can't affect their natural aspects. You can't say big earlobes aren't allowed, but you can say big earrings aren't allowed. That's how it should be, not how it currently is. So yes, they have the right, and I think they should still have the right, but the issue is the rules aren't working correctly.
Could I just read something from the Glamour? Right, so it says here, within schools, the heads of black students are disproportionately policed. Say that. Policized, sorry. Let me do that again. Within schools, the head of black students are disproportionately policized. Black hair is labelled as distraction and disruption, like I just said, resulting in schools excluding, even expelling students, and irony that would be funny if it was not detrimental to the education of kids. 46% of parents say that their children's school policy unfairly penalises black hair. The Halo Collective, winning for black student adults, recount a negative experience at school in relation to the hair texture. As a secondary school child, my only trip to the head teacher's office was to issue a warning against the unnatural blonde highlights in my fresh disruptive or distracting or to expel the students. That's just out of your mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is very strange. That's a very strange reaction to it. I mean, even with the fact of, again, moving from black hair, even we've got with the Asian community, we've got hijabs. Some schools don't allow hijabs to be worn. You know what I mean? And it's that's a religious take on it. You know what I mean? Not about the actual how they look. It's a very
like you just said, it's a religious thing. Look what I've just read. That's gone back into black history. You know what I mean? Well, you know what? I'm not just saying black history. Black history is everyone's history.
Well, Lewis, just one final thing, right? So there's a school called Pimlico Academy, right? And apparently a student was placed in isolation because his dreadlocks, obviously symbolic of his Rastafarian culture and religion, were deemed to be in breach of the school's uniform policy. So he was threatened with exclusion unless he cut his hair. So let's say that you were this student's friend and you knew it was wrong. Would you step in and, help him through the process of, for saying it's wrong that his hair is fine, even though yes, it may be against school policy, but then again, it's unjust because
there shouldn't be that policy in the first place. So I was that student's friend and I was in that situation with him, I'd probably, try just help get that rule just pushed out the window. You know what I mean? Like, schools should be embracing students' cultures. Everyone's different, everyone's unique, everyone's come to school to learn. So no matter what your background is or where you come from, everyone should be treated the same. And the teachers should be more focused on engaging students in a lesson instead of trying to give them isolation or expulsion just because of the way their hair is. It's pathetic.
It's unjust. But I'm gonna have to move on. I know you got more points, but we're gonna have to move on.
I'll say one more.
Yeah, one more.
It's because, like I said, there's a too puffy and too distracting black people straightened their hair to just make it look presentable, and that's even after emancipation.
Yeah, we shouldn't have to do that. It's just.
So that just shows you that we've tried it, and then it's not. We just don't want it because it's not our. It's not we. It's not me. Yeah.
It's not fair. I understand that. But thank you for the points. Moving on from that debate, a white British social media influencer began identifying as transracial after undergoing 18 surgeries to transition his race and gender, according to a series of videos released online. Ollie London underwent 18 cosmetic surgeries to transition into a non-binary Korean and resemble Park Jimin from the famous K-pop band BTS. The transracial influencer has begun identifying as Korean and goes by the name Jimin with they them pronouns. A statement from the influencer is as follows: "Hey guys, I am finally Korean. I have transitioned. I have the eyes, just had a brow lift as well. I hope I have been trapped in the wrong body for 8 years, and that is the worst feeling in the world, when you are trapped and you do not feel that you can be yourself. But finally, I am Korean, I can be myself, and I am so happy." So, do you think that being transracial is a new beginning for people, or is this an offensive act? Kyle, what do you think about this?
Honestly, look, I'm gonna be honest. I think it's. You can't get mad at it and you can't complain. Transracial has just as much validity, in my opinion, as transgender. I probably disagree with a lot of people on this matter, which is the gender. I believe there's two, but that's not the times we're in, and I'm not gonna be mad at times changing. You know, if the world believes that we live in a gender fluid society, sure, racial fluid society, maybe that exists too. I think it's silly, personally. I don't know, it's just, that's my honest opinion. I genuinely think it's silly, but again, I'm not the smartest individual. So.
See, the thing is, I mean, even about that, there have been people from the LGBTQ plus community who have disagreed with this, because they said, yes, you can change gender, but you can't change race.
I think that's hypocritical though.
Why so?
Because I don't think you can pick and choose at that point. I think if someone can be transgender, meaning they are not the gender they were assigned at birth, I don't see how that's any different from transracial. I don't. They're the same thing. Physical differences, but those don't. I think they've both got physical differences. Gender and race apply physical differences to that person. And if those physical differences don't apply to that gender, and you can be what you identify as, I think race equally is justification.
That's fair. I can understand that for sure.
Again, not the smartest person.
It doesn't. No, honestly, it's that's a valid point, because at the end of the day, yes, we have become to a point where people can identify as anything at this point, and yes, it can be quite hypocritical for people to say, oh, you can't identify as that, but then, you know what I mean? So I can understand that.
At least there should be allowed a full discussion on it. I think people are tiptoeing around this transracial idea because they don't, they stand by the idea of transgender, or like me, they believe there's just two genders, and you're born as what you're born as. But that's a very controversial opinion to have, and I know that, and I'm willing to be wrong, if I am. But I think people are worried that disagreeing with transracial, you have to disagree with transgender. And I believe if you disagree with transracial, you have to disagree with transgender.
Okay, this next question is going to repeat a little bit, so hopefully, I don't know if it's going to be weird or not, but yeah, do you agree with transracial being a part of the LGBTQ+?
Sure.
To Lewis, not you. Not everything's about you, Kyle.
Sure, man.
Being a part of the LGBTQ+,
yeah.
TQ+. Right. I don't know. I just think that you shouldn't have to transition and go through 18 surgeries to be who you are. So, fair enough, identify as Korean, but does that mean you need to change your eyes or change your eyebrows to be Korean? Like, if you think you're Korean, if you truly believe that, and that's the way you feel, then surely there's more different lifestyle choices that you'd want to go about to be Korean. I don't even know. It's a weird topic.
It is a very strange topic, man. Honestly, it is a very touchy one. I
Professional.
That's right. I mean, from my understanding, I think you said that there was another person that tried this before.
Yeah.
A woman who tried that. Do you know anything more about that?
I don't know. I saw her on like a YouTube video or something. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this because
it's very varied. I can understand. It's like, well, yeah, just like Kyle said, you kind of if you agree with one, then you have to agree with the other. If you disagree with one, you can disagree with the other. It is a very up and down kind of thing because it's quite new. I mean, people have said that about transgender, being transgender. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some people have said that about being gay. You can't do that, this and this and that, which is fair enough. Kamaar, I'm gonna ask you, what do you think?
You know what? First of all, didn't know what transracial means. So I looked up the definition of it, and there's several definitions. So this is from Cambridge Dictionary, which says involving or including people from different races, especially involving parents who are different races of an adopted child. And then one on Merriam-Webster says involving, encompassing, or extending across two or more races. So comparing to Ollie. It's like what Dee said. Like, I don't think it can change from male to female or male to male. But in my opinion, this is mine, guys. Don't bash people about this. I don't think you can change your race. You can change your racial attitudes. But if you're black, you're black. You know what I mean? In my eyes, I'm saying that because I've just got another source here. So Rachel Dolezal appeared on the Today Show and declared himself transracial and burned other people's misunderstanding of the term and why she came to be identified as black. She says, I was aptly identified when I was doing human rights work North Idaho as first transracial. She said, in a construction that conveniently negated her agency in that decision, and explained that she never corrected subsequent media reports that she was biracial or black. She says, I identify as black, she said during the interview, though she admits to having identified as white and other points, including when she sued Howard University for racial discrimination because she was white, and then she lost that case. So, there's a lot of different meanings of what it should mean, but I think, in my eyes, transracial, you just want to change your race, but I don't think, in my eyes, I don't think that's happened because it says here as well, but transracial does not mean what some white Americans like Dolezal apparently wish it mean. The term originates from adopted and academic circles to describe the very lived experience of children raised in homes that are phenotypical and culturally different from their birth. People like my colleague Rebecca Carroll, who is black. She was raised in a white household and her white birth mother attempted to define her as culturally white and cosmetically black. I get that, but I get that because obviously you've been brought up in a white household, but your race is something that in my eyes, what you identify on your passport, like what's your race? I'm black. That's what I'm
I can understand that, but then again, I don't know, an Asian person could go on their passport and say, I'm black. And let's say in the future we become more and more accepting of this, because right now there are people that are quite against it. And then become more accepting of it. There'll be a point where people won't really argue with it, because it's
I just want to read this last bit, and it says, in other words, Dolezal's black adopted brothers could be considered transracial if they chose to define themselves that way, which does not negate their blackness, but Dolezal herself is not. And Dolezal's insistence that for it to be plausible to be seen as the mother of her adopted brother Isaiah, of whom she gained custody in 2010, I certainly can't be seen as white, doesn't make her transracial as that term has always been understood. But writer Ellie Freeman clarified the distinction between actual transracial people and those like Dolezal. She says, being transracial is hardly similar to feeling black. It's not like gender dysphoria, either the politics or race. and gender are not interchangeable in this context, like Carl said. Unlike many black Americans, Rachel's family background does not carry the trauma of slavery and institutionalized racism. Unlike people who are transracial, Rachel has not been physically torn between two cultures and denied intimate knowledge of her birth culture. Unlike people who are black and transracial adoptees, Rachel has not had to deal with both of these life-affecting experiences at the same time. So it's people thinking, yeah, I am, but no, you're not. It's just like it's confusing a bit. But Ollie's receives a lot of support from fellow celebrities, hasn't he?
Yes.
Like Sean Hannity took a course on writing "Help Me Speak Out Against the Injustice I'm Facing Racism and Transphobia from the Woke Mob." So that's what. Oh yeah, this is about something about War of Woke on Fox News, but yeah.
I mean, all right, a very out there kind of question. All right, just to all of you, do you think this is just another thing for like woke, activists just to climb on, or like what they've just created, or is this a genuine? Do you think this is like a genuine thing? How about Lewis? Do you want to take this one?
I'm dozing off in my own head then. So, I think that. What did you say again?
That woke activists are using this thing as like this transracial thing to climb on to create, or do you think this is an actual thing, like a legitimate thing?
Well, I think it could be an actual thing just as much as transgender, like you said. But I think the whole world just needs to not get too riled up about it. Like, everyone's always on the internet these days with all their opinions clashing and everyone having big arguments, but it's just too much drama for me, and I just keep my nose out of it. So if someone wants to say that they're Korean, then that's their belief, but I guess mine is that you are how you are raised, so it's just what beliefs you was raised with, like you said about the white girl being raised in a black household, or was it the other way around?
Yeah.
No.
So, yeah.
So yeah, if that'd be understandable if she identified as black, but.
Okay, I agree. Fair enough. How about you, Carl?
I think I've realised that it's everybody disagrees and there's two sides, but I think people like me are in a state of I disagree with a lot of it, but if majority of people are for it, then majority of people are for it. Now I agree that then it's a thing. Personally, I think race and I just don't think you can change it. But if the majority of people believe you can, then fine, I'll just deal with it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go against it, but I'm also not going to go out of my way to be like, yes, it's true. I'm just going to be like, well, if most people believe it, most people believe it.
That's fair. How about you, Kamaar?
Yeah, I feel like some people need to understand like the background of what transracial means, because like Ollie's saying that he knows a lot of people don't understand me, but I do identify as Korean and I do look Korean now. I do feel Korean. I don't identify as British, so please don't refer to me as British because I identify as Korean. So, but if you're changing, if you're having multiple surgeries to look Korean, I don't think you've got the credibility to say, transracial in a way.
Yeah. Why Korean specifically?
It was after a K-pop star he was trying to look like.
Oh, so he's one of those crazy K-pop fans.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but because Korean is an Asian, like it. You can't be specifically Korean. You can be born specifically Korean, but if you're choosing to be specifically Korean, that's because you identify with that culture, not that people. Like that, you identify with the culture of it. Because you could identify as Chinese, but you're identifying with the Chinese culture, not any other culture. So it's the culture you're identifying with. I think that makes sense if you identify with the culture more, but changing the way you look, I think that's silly. I think it almost sends a message of, to be a part of this culture, you need to be that race, which I personally don't agree with. A lot of one of the things in Japan is they love when foreigners wear cultural clothes. They love it. It's like, more the merrier. That's how they see it. But if you love Japanese culture and you get plastic surgery and you change everything about yourself to be that race, it sends this message that it's an isolated culture, and I genuinely think it's just a K-pop fan.
Yeah, because adding to Cal's what he said, I've gone through extreme lifestyle changes to become who I am today, and I've lived in Korea. I eat Korean food every day, use Korean skincare, have plastic surgery to look Korean, and I speak the Korean language. All of this shapes me as a person and might identify as a non-binary Korean person. And he says, well, I recognise that a lot of people don't understand how I identify and may find it unusual being Korean, and feeling Korean is part of who I am and how I feel, and I will never allow a single woke person, bully or troll to take away that from me. Well, I'm going to say now, it's good luck. Thank you. And hope it goes well for you.
Is that final thoughts, yeah?
That's my final thought. But I don't think, as well, like going back to Kyle said, I don't think if you want to look like a certain race, I don't think you can, have a credibility to say, oh yeah, I'm Asian because I look Asian, I've got, Asian eyes, eat Asian food, use the skincare. I don't think you've got the credibility to say that if you're not born there. In my eyes, sorry. If you disagree with that, that's fine. I accept that. But we all agree to disagree, we've all had individual points, but yeah.
Do the rest of the panel agree?
My basic point, to narrow it down, because I rambled quite a bit, my basic point is transracial, to me, the new way of saying it, not the original. It's been adopted. I get that originally it was like you identify and you're growing up in a different culture, but the new adoption of transracial, which is similar to transgender, I believe they're one in the same, and I think both are equally valid. Take that as a good thing or a bad thing. If you believe it, it is what it is. So.
You shouldn't have to go through 18 surgeries to be who you are. So, if you identify with Korean, then it's the culture more. He's just looked at a pop star and thought, that's a cool look, I want to look like that, and then he's just gone to live in Korea. Just because he eats the food and uses the skincare, he thinks that he is Korean, when I don't think he is. He's just someone that thinks he's Korean. Or they are someone that think they are Korean.
Right. Okay, understandable. Okay. Well, that is it for them discussions, but please stay tuned, because after the break we will be discussing a new dilemma that needs to be solved, and we will be playing another new game of Loose Mandem does Guess the Picture. See you in a minute.
Walk and skank and me say walk and skank, yes sir. Walk and skank and me say walk and skank. Walk and skank and me say walk and skank. You go out of the street, you fi walk and skank. You go. Walk and skank and me say walk and skank, yes sir. Walk and skank and me say walk and skank. Walk and skank and me say walk and skank. You go out of the street, you fi walk and skank. You go.
Welcome back. Still to come, all our panelists will be playing another game of Loose Mandem Does Guess the Picture. Hopefully, hopefully Kyle will win this game, so we will see in the next 9 to 10 minutes. Now, we will have another dilemma for us to solve, which we are moving on to now. So, an anonymous source from the Sun newspaper states that a woman has found out that her husband liked wearing lycra tights and heels. He said that he made him feel sexy. She supported him and even helped him buy some stilettos. When she asked if it meant he liked dressing as a woman, he denied it, but now he has told his wife that it has gone a lot further than he admitted. He has been wearing her dresses and underwear when she is out, has bought a long blonde wig and made makeup, even made a profile on a website. She is 40 and he is 42. He says he does not want to be a woman or even go out in public like one. It is just a fetish. She says that she feels so confused and that she is not good enough for him. She says she is a normal woman who likes straight sex. Well, quite a lot to unpack here, but don't worry, because we are the Loose Mandem and here are our reactions. Lewis, what do you think of this right now?
Maybe they're right for each other, maybe they're not. I mean, they're just going to have to keep trying, and I wish the best to them. We'll see what we get. So, yeah, maybe she gets a strap on and we start experimenting in the bedroom. Okay. We don't know, but yeah, I wish them the best. And yeah, I think maybe she's just in shock because yeah, she just needs a bit of time.
I can understand that, but don't you think it's kind of similar? Well, I mean, what kind of reminds me of is the whole Bruce Jenner situation where he went from dressing up in women clothing and then all of a sudden came out to be Caitlyn Jenner, transgender, right? Do you think it's like a similar thing going on there, or?
No, because obviously Bruce back then he was passionate to be a woman, and he said that in various, when he did the Olympics and stuff like that, he said that he was passionate to be a girl and he doesn't feel comfortable in a male body. But he's saying he doesn't, like you said in your introduction, he said he doesn't want to be a woman or even go out in public like one. It's just a fetish. But I've seen on the Mail Online, Tracy Cox, she said what's the difference between a kink and a fetish. So she says, in the past, when I've written about fetishes and kinks, the definition was much simpler. A kink was something you wanted sexually. A fetish was something you needed. It says a true fetish meant the person couldn't get aroused without indulging. A person with a shoe fetish, for instance, wouldn't be interested in sex unless there was a shoe involved. So I'm thinking, you've been having sex with your life. Why haven't you addressed this situation to your wife before that? And Tracy Cox has, stated that look about the signs, your partner may show you, or you may realise if they're interested in the fetish, because she says, let me just find it, wanting you to wear it every single time you have sex, or having immense difficulty being able to become aroused or orgasm unless you do moves it into a fetish. Pretty sure reading this that your partner may be about to tell all. So I'm just thinking, why didn't he say that he wants to, wear the heel, wear the tights in sex?
Oh, Carl?
I don't think he knew what fetish meant. I didn't know there was a difference. I thought they were interchangeable. And he's a 42-year-old dude, in England, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't know the difference between kink and fetish. I didn't. So I think, he just said it's a fetish, and I don't even think this needs to be broadcasted out. They should just talk about it. She should just go, hey, can you have sex without it? And he's like, yeah, I'm into it. I also want to try this. And she's like, I'm not willing to try that. And he's like, alright, cool, I'll keep it to myself.
Yeah.
There you go, end of story. I don't think it needed to be brought into the public. It should just be a simple conversation. I get that she's shocked and she's like, what is this? It's a 40-year-old woman, probably never been on the internet much. So, again, just talk about it, ask if he can have normal sex, and if he can, then Are you open to exploring that? And if you're not, then you're both going to have to just deal with it.
No, I agree.
It's. I don't know. I don't think he knew what fetish meant. I think the reason why he didn't bring it up before is because, again, he used the word fetish, but he said it's just a fetish. Like I thought fetish was just the same as kink. So I don't think he knows the exact definition of fetish.
Because over here, this way in 2020, Tracy Cox wrote about this, but it says the top 10 most popular fetishes and kinks are filming yourself having sex, BDSM, roleplay, a fantasy for rubber, latex or leather, spanking, foot fetish, cross-dressing, water sports, swinging or group sex, and exhibitionism. So where he's got where he sits in the graph is at number 7. Yeah. Well, isn't it?
Maybe he's just like obsessed with her because if she didn't notice until, or like, so we've had a long relationship together and it's only come out late in the relationship, so she, like, maybe his fetish during sex is just her, he likes her, so when she's gone, he's so obsessed with her, he just starts wearing her clothes and stuff. I don't know, that could be an explanation, but...
I mean, either way, it's... I mean, they do have to talk it out, whether it be that, or whether he's, I don't know, he's just doing it just because he wants to. Maybe he might, you know, want to be a woman who or not, you know, it doesn't, it depends, whatever reason it is. I'm getting flamed, hold on now.
I'm reading Tracy Cox's article and it says, this man said, I have a fetish which largely developed after getting married. One man told Tracy, I had dabbled in BDSM but mostly light-hearted. My wife wasn't keen and that was fine, but 9 years later I found chastity, locking your penis in a sorry.
We are a very mature panel.
Specially designed cage that prevents you from getting erections or using your penis for sex, which I love and practice while at home alone.
Wait,
No, it's like a you know, like a hardcore version of like edgy. You know what I mean? Where like
so it's
stop
basically
yourself.
locking his penis that stops him from getting an erection.
Oh.
Of using penis for, you know.
That makes sense. I get that.
That's a fetish. So,
Well, to each his own.
you know what? I don't want.
Not to each his own.
No.
If you got if you got a sexual partner and you've got a fetish, just open it up or just do your research first and just see how you can approach it, because Deirdre from the Sun newspaper has got a pack about cross-dressing and explain more. So if you're into cross-dressing or there's a lot of
Just talk about it.
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong about it. There's nothing wrong about it. Again, like this is your partner of how many years, you know what I mean? Yeah, okay, you'll be uncomfortable with certain things, you might not agree with certain things, but as long as you talk it out and you have like a good foundation, a good grounded middle ground to meet on, then that's fair, you know? So I again, it's, yeah, if it's a fetish or a kink or whatever, that's fair. As long as you talk about it with your partner, that's the most sensible thing to do, I think. But thank you for your points, guys. So now moving now after that whole debate, I think we need something to lift all our spirits. After all, it is Friday, and this next thing should be fun. It's time to play another new game of Loose Mandem Does Guess the Picture. In this game, I will show my drawings, which can be something relating to a category, such as film, TV, an object, etc., etc., etc. And then either Kamaar, Lewis, or Kyle will have to guess what it is I have drawn. If one of them guesses correctly, they will get 1 point. If they guess or pass it, if they pass or get it wrong, no point will be awarded. I'll also give them 2 clues on each of the drawings. You guys watching will be able to see what I have drawn on your screen before these lot even know what the picture is. And let's get started. I think my pictures are better than last time, Carl. I don't know what happened with it. Smiley face.
Let's put that
Yeah, yo, you are terrible. You are terrible. I'm sorry. You're my friend, but no, you're terrible. But okay, easy one. Stop.
Or I could just block them all.
Yeah, you can. Alright, well, let me just. Well, you're gonna see it anyways, but yeah. Okay, I'm gonna ask you individually though.
Don't do like 8 episodes judging me for not winning, and then when I come in hard, doing my job correctly, get mad at me.
You cheated.
I didn't cheat.
I just looked at the
Just
screen.
right. You know what we do? So you put up a picture. We all look that way, like what we did for mine.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And then so.
This.
Sorry guys, but seeing as Kaz was a bit.
Carl was very eager.
Yeah. Eager to get that point, but yeah.
Alright, cool.
Cool. Alright. Here we go.
You're better driver than me.
Okay.
Let's put that.
Right.
You are terrible. You are terrible. I'm sorry.
Okay. This is named after an object or a certain food item.
Start off.
Travago.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna ask. What's Lewis? What's your guess?
Well, you're gonna see.
Can we have a clue?
You want a clue?
Do the clues first. Okay.
Okay. Right. One clue. This is after a.
Oh, mango! Oh, it's mango.
Oh, why did I look like that? I didn't have no idea. He said mango. I had no idea. I looked at him like it's mango. You would never got that, but I'm such an idiot. I said mango.
Right. If you're offended by that because it's it looks like a stick drawing, but because I would have said that.
What?
Because I thought it was like a normal person. I didn't.
Men, people, Kamaar.
Yeah, but
all
it
the
looks
women
like a
though.
normal.
For all the men's and the girls, toilet stick men, we know.
Oh, yeah, true.
Men
Sorry,
don't have
sorry,
skirts and
yeah.
girls
Yeah.
do.
Just because the last time he couldn't draw an actual picture of a dude and a girl on the thing. That's all.
No, but what's that?
Okay, next one. Turn around. And we're gonna do this. All right. Let's get it. Okay. Okay. Named after a food or a sweet.
Kitty cat.
Kit Kat. Thank you.
You said kitty cat. It's Kit Kat. Kit Kat.
What? Sorry?
Key.
Key. T.
Keat. Cat.
No, that's,
E.T.
That's a very strange one to do. Yeah.
Oh no, I agree. I think that's great.
I mean, you made it hard.
Oh, yeah.
You made it hard, then.
How many points have we got?
So right now you've got one. That first one don't count. Kai, you jumped to it.
That's Kit Kat. It's Kit Kat. It's Kit Kat.
Yeah, you said kitty cat.
He's still
Yeah,
got
but
it.
it's
We'll get it.
Keith.
He's still.
Cat.
It's still a... You didn't get the point. Stop being sour. No, you got the point. Turn around. Next one.
Let's have better drawings and better words.
Did you see what it was? Did you see a key?
Yeah. Kit Kat.
Right, so
That's
you know.
not Kit Kat. Kit Kat.
So what would you rather me draw for the kit?
Kit. Maybe let's start with just peek it.
Yeah.
So,
No, that does work. Because Key Cat. Kit Kat. Kit Kat.
anyway,
Come on, I ain't got no points, so you're being bitter. So there you go. Intellectuals in the room. Next.
Anyway.
All right. So next one. Okay. This one is after a device. Want me to give you a clue?
Yeah, please.
Anybody? Yeah? Right, after a certain phone.
Sony Xperia.
Wait. Oh, I know. Nokia.
Correct. Nokia. No. Nope. Cross. No. Key. Ah, there you go. So that's
That's acceptable.
That's acceptable.
Yeah, because
yeah, 0 points, 1 point, 2 points. Yeah, yeah. I played right. Next one then. Hope you can read the writing. Alright. Okay. Right. Can you see?
Yeah.
Right, this is sunbathe, by the way.
that's the word.
I was thinking sunburn.
That's sunburn.
Looks like he's getting sunburned there.
Okay. After a film.
What do you get?
Oh, got it!
Hold on.
I've got it.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. Go for it.
No, can I say it?
Yeah.
Titanic.
Correct. 1 point.
What do you do when you sunbathe? Tan. There you go.
That was good.
All right. This is the last one. So that's 2 points to you, 1 point to you, and 1 point to you. Right. So this is the last one. So is it right? So whoever's the quickest to get this. Quickest or whatever. Whoever presses the buzzer first wins. Now play. Right. This is the last one. Turn around. All right. Okay. It's a very easy one. All right. Just see mouths moving like.
Facebook.
Correct. That's it. Right. So right now we have a draw. So we've got Kyle with 2, Lewis with 2, and Kamaar with 1. Look at that.
Shall we do rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Kyle, you have to fight for your.
Why can't you rock, paper, scissors, lizard spot?
No.
Do you know
One
that?
round of rock, paper, scissors.
No, you don't know that. You don't know it. You don't know. You have to do it the easy one. Come on.
One round.
What are we doing now? Shoot or rock?
One round.
No, I'm gonna do 2 rounds. 2 rounds to be safe. 2 rounds to be safe,
So are
right?
we doing it on like rock, paper, scissors? Yeah.
Actually, no. So 3 to obviously, because yeah, 3.
Yeah, 1, 2. Rock, paper, scissors.
Alright.
Okay, no. 2 more. One more. Okay, you beat. Okay, that's it. Well, Lewis won. Lewis won. Well, yeah. So Lewis wins today's. You were close, man. Like you were close, bro. Like.
Good show.
Well, we have run out of time for today's show. Well, you all enjoyed it like we did. Thanks to Kamaar, Kyle, who's now leaving the building, and Lewis for joining me and sharing their views bravely on today's show. Also, do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to follow to us. Follow us and share and set alerts on any of our posts on social media handles, which are on your screen right now. We'll be back next Monday, so we will see you then. And remember, tell all the Mandem and Gyaldem about Loose Mandem. Bye bye.
Walk and skank and me say walk and skank, yes sir. Walk and skank and me say walk and skank. Walk and skank and me say walk and skank. You go out of the street, you fi walk and skank. You go